We are children of an excellent God. We deserve an excellent wedding, not a wishy-washy one.
In that case, can we postpone it?
Are you joking right now? After the invitations are already out?
Since we can't afford the wedding you're dreaming of.
Why are you treating me this way? Why?
Valerie and Lucas sent out over 200 wedding invitations. They believed at least half their guests would come. Not one person showed up. You must be wondering why. Picture the room. White tables, empty chairs, a cake nobody cut. How does a wedding like that end with nobody in the room? This is not a story about a bad man. It is a story about a good man who made one bad choice. Lucas was respected by everyone who knew him. He worked hard. He was so serious about his faith that people at his job called him pastor. Out of every woman who wanted to marry him, Lucas chose Valerie. She was the most beautiful woman in the church. That choice would change his life forever. There is a saying, looks can tell you who a person seems to be. They cannot tell you who that person becomes. When life gets hard times were already on their way. They would arrive during the very counseling sessions meant to prepare them for marriage. It was something they could have avoided, but that is what peer pressure can do to a person.
Sister Valerie, wait!
Please subscribe, like, comment, and share to bless others. Now let's continue the story. Lucas worked as a senior accountant for a mid-sized company downtown. 9 years there, never once late, never once careless. On a Thursday evening, most of the office had already gone home. The lights down the hallway were off, one by one. Lucas was still at his desk, going through a vendor report line by line, because one number in it was $12 off, and $12 to Lucas still mattered. He found the error before he left that night. He always did. Richmond, the company's CEO, had learned a long time ago that if Lucas signed off on something, there was no need to check it twice. Lucas was one of the few people in that building Richmond trusted with anything. His coworkers noticed the same thing Richmond did. Over the years, it earned him a name.
If Lucas signed off on it, you know it's clean.
They called him Pastor, half as a joke, because of how seriously he took every dollar that passed through his hands, half because they meant it. Lucas didn't just work like a man who feared God. He lived like one too. It showed outside the office as much as inside it. Lucas drove a car that was 10 years old, paid off in full years ago. He lived in a modest one-bedroom apartment, even though his salary could have carried something far nicer. He wasn't saving toward anything specific. He simply believed a man should live below what he earns, not above it.
If you can't pay cash for it, you don't need it yet.
That was something Lucas said often. Whenever a coworker asked how he managed to stay so calm about money while everyone else seemed to be drowning in debt. He had lived by it for years, and it had never once failed him. Lucas looked at his life. Steady job, clean name, a little money saved, and felt like a man who had done things the right way. He didn't know it yet. But that same belief, the one thing he trusted most about himself, was about to be tested by the one person he trusted most with his heart. Valerie sang in the church choir. She was the kind of woman people noticed the moment she walked into a room. Not just for how she looked, but for how easily she laughed, how quickly she made a stranger feel welcome. Valerie worked as a receptionist at a dental office not far from the church. She had grown up in a house where her parents always made room for one more guest at the table, no matter how little there was to go around. Something in her still believed that mattered more than anything money could buy. Every unmarried woman in that church had an opinion about Lucas. He had a good job. He had his own car, fully paid for. He lived alone in an apartment nice enough that people talked about it after service. More than one woman had found a reason to bring him a plate of food after a potluck, just to have an excuse to talk to him.
If I were 20 years younger, I'd have gotten to him first.
That was the kind of joke people made about Lucas, half laughing, half serious. Valerie noticed something different about him than the rest of them did. She noticed that he stayed to help stack chairs after every service, even when nobody was watching to see him do it. She noticed that he never raised his voice, not even the day the sound system failed twice during worship. She liked him before she ever thought about what he had.
He's not trying to impress anyone. That's what I like about him.
That's what she told a friend, the first Sunday she really talked to him. Lucas noticed her too, and not only because she was beautiful. Valerie had a warmth to her that filled a room the moment she walked into it. the exact opposite of his own quiet, careful nature. Out of every woman in that congregation who had ever smiled his way, he found himself thinking about her long after service had ended. They started slow. Coffee after church. A walk, once, that turned into 3 hours neither of them noticed passing. Valerie's father liked him immediately. A steady man, a church-going man, the kind of son-in-law any father would be glad to have. 6 months in, Lucas knew. He proposed on an ordinary Sunday afternoon in the parking lot outside her apartment with no crowd and no music, because that felt more like him than anything elaborate would have. Valerie said yes before he even finished the sentence. They told the church the following Sunday. The whole congregation clapped. A few of the women who had once brought Lucas a plate of food clapped loudest of all, and meant every bit of it. For a while, it really was that simple. Then the wedding planning began, and simple started to feel a lot more complicated. Premarital counseling started 3 months before the wedding date they'd picked. Every couple in their church went through it before the pastor would agree to marry them. 6 sessions, 1 hour each, in a small office at the back of the church, with 2 worn armchairs and a shelf of marriage books nobody ever seemed to borrow. The pastor leading them had counseled half the couples in that congregation over the past 20 years. He had seen, by now, exactly how these conversations tended to go. The first 2 sessions covered the usual ground. Communication, faith, what it means to lead a household together, and what it means to follow one. Lucas answered every question directly, the same way he answered everything. Carefully, honestly, without performing for anyone in the room. Valerie answered just as honestly. She just answered differently, in a softer voice, choosing her words the way a person does when they're not entirely sure yet what they actually think. In the 3rd session, the pastor asked a question he asked every couple, almost as a formality.
Have you two talked about what kind of wedding you actually want?
Lucas answered first, without hesitating, the way a man answers a question he has already settled in his own mind.
Something simple. Something we can pay for ourselves, without owing anybody anything afterward.
Valerie nodded along as he spoke. She said she agreed, and sitting there, in that small office, she meant every word of it. But somewhere underneath the nodding, a small picture had already begun forming in her mind. It had more flowers in it than Lucas had described. A few more tables. A dress that cost more than simple usually allowed for. She hadn't asked for any of it. It had simply arrived, the way certain thoughts do, uninvited. She didn't say any of that out loud. Not that day. Lucas walked out of that session feeling like it had gone well. In his mind, the conversation was settled. There was nothing left to discuss. He had no idea that somewhere inside Valerie, a small seed had already been planted. And seeds, once planted, have a way of growing, whether anyone waters them on purpose or not. Wedding planning moves fast once a date is set, faster than either of them expected. Valerie and her friends started meeting after church most Sundays, spreading magazines and printed photos across a table at the coffee shop down the street. It was supposed to be fun. Most of the time, it was. But Valerie's closest friends had all seen the same things Lucas's coworkers had. The good job, the paid-off car, the nice apartment. To them, it was simple math.
Girl, if I had a man with Lucas's job, I would not be doing a small wedding. Not even a little bit.
Valerie laughed it off the first few times someone said something like that. But it kept coming. A friend would pull up a photo from someone else's wedding on her phone. String lights, a live band, a dress with a long train, and ask, almost innocently, whether Valerie was planning anything like it.
You deserve that too, you know. Especially marrying someone like him.
Then there was her father. He had liked Lucas from the very first Sunday dinner they'd shared. But one evening, over coffee at his kitchen table, he brought up the wedding the way a proud father does, already picturing it in his mind.
A man in Lucas's position, he'll want to give you something to remember. I know he will.
Valerie didn't correct him. In that moment, she wasn't even sure she needed to. Lucas wasn't in the room for any of these conversations. Not the coffee shop, not her father's kitchen table. He had no idea any of it was happening. Nobody in her life had actually sat down and looked at Lucas's real bank account. Nobody had asked. They had looked at what he seemed to have from the outside and quietly assumed the rest. And little by little, without a single person, meaning any real harm, That assumption started becoming Valerie's own. Something was building in her that even she hadn't fully admitted yet, and it wasn't going to stay quiet much longer. Their sixth and final counseling session ended that night, right after a closing Bible study that had left the whole room feeling lifted. Lucas walked Valerie to his car, still smiling from it. They sat there for a moment before he started the engine. Then Valerie broke the silence.
Lucas, can we talk about the wedding again? For real this time?
A small knot formed in Lucas's chest. He thought they'd already settled this.
We already talked about this last week. Why now, after tonight?
I know. I'm just uncomfortable. What you're suggesting is not enough.
She looked down at her hands before she said the rest.
We are children of an excellent God. We deserve an excellent wedding, not a wishy-washy one.
Lucas's chest tightened further. What he said next cost him something, even though his voice stayed calm.
In that case, can we postpone it?
Postpone what?
The wedding.
Which wedding?
Our wedding.
Are you joking right now? After the invitations are already out?
Since we can't afford the wedding you're dreaming of. For now, I think that being said...
He didn't get to finish. Valerie was already crying.
Why are you treating me this way? Why?
No, please don't cry.
He didn't get to finish that either. Somewhere between one breath and the next, her tears turned to something colder.
Thank you. Good night.
She got out of the car before he could say another word and started walking.
Sister Valerie, wait!
She didn't turn around. Lucas sat there alone in the car for a long time afterward, wondering if love was supposed to feel this heavy this early. Lucas sat at his kitchen table long after midnight, a notepad in front of him, trying to think his way out of the problem like the accountant he was. He ran the numbers again. Could he ask for an advance on his salary? Could he pick up extra hours somewhere? Could a bank loan cover the difference without burying him in interest? None of it worked fast enough. The wedding was too close. Then a quieter thought surfaced. Not a suggestion, just a fact at first. Temptation.
You're the one everyone trusts with the money. Nobody double-checks what you sign off on.
Lucas noticed the thought and didn't like where it was standing. That's not a solution. That's a door you don't want to open. But the thought didn't leave. It just got quieter and more specific. Temptation.
Hold some of it for a few weeks. Replace it before anyone checks. That's not stealing.
And if you spend it on the wedding, what's left to replace it with? That question should have ended it. For a moment, it almost did. Then the other voice found a different angle. Temptation.
9 years of honesty has to count for something. Just this once isn't an offense. You need it. Even God can see that this isn't the same as stealing.
Lucas sat with that for a long time, turning it over the way he turned over every number that had ever passed through his hands. It's still wrong. You already know that. He did know it. But knowing it, tonight, didn't feel like enough anymore. The next day, at the office, Lucas could barely focus on anything. Every number on his screen turned back into the same question by the end of it. That evening, he sat down at his laptop and logged into the company's accounting portal. The transfer screen was already open. The account number, the amount, everything filled in except one final click. His hand rested on the mouse. Temptation.
What are you afraid of? Nobody will ever find out. Even God knows you have no other choice.
His finger hovered there, unable to move either way. If you were sitting exactly where Lucas was sitting right now, what would you do? You're about to marry someone you love. With the wedding closing in fast, she's demanding the dream wedding you can't afford. Will you take the money, call it borrowing, call it stealing, to make her dream come true? Or will you walk away from the wedding entirely, even if it costs you the relationship, and she chooses never to marry you at all? Tell us in the comments what you would have done. This story will be continued. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share to bless others. Thank you.